For the last 2 years, we've been making videos for this series we call Treasure Ireland. Now, most of that treasure has been metaphorical, but there is real treasure, gold and silver shaped by master artisans of the past, hidden in Ireland, in her caves and bogs and fields, and even in her rivers. The two most famous discoveries of early Christian treasures in Ireland are, of course, the Ardagh hoard and the Innisfallen hoard. In each case, the treasures found included 8th or 9th century chalices, whose incredibly intricate metalwork has made them rightly famous. The first of these was found by two boys, Jim Quinn and Paddy Flanagan, digging potatoes in County Limerick in 1868. The Innisfallen hoard is a more recent discovery. It dates to 1980. A father and son were using metal detectors and they found this chalice, paten and strainer in a field in County Tipperary. Another national treasure was found in these waters around us in the year 1867. Here's what happened. A fisherman by the name of Dennis O'Sullivan was out on his boat on the River Lough. The level of the water was particularly low that summer, so the riverbed could be clearly made out. He was looking for salmon and he had his fishing pole at the ready. When he was passing by Dunlow Castle, he spotted something shiny in the water. He threw his pole, but this fish didn't budge. So he dropped down his net and pulled up the treasure now known as the Lough Crozier. His first thought was that this was a kind of a fancy walking stick, and he showed it around to a few local people, including one woman who recognized its value and advised him to show it to the local Catholic bishop, Dr. Moriarty. The bishop offered the fisherman £18 for it, and O'Sullivan sold happily, declaring that it was the best salmon he had ever caught. Now, what exactly is a crozier? It's a stick or a staff that came to be associated with bishops and abbots and abbesses in the early church. The interpretation of its symbolism varies. Some associate it with the shepherd's staff. Just as Jesus is the good shepherd, so bishops and others with authority in the church should care for their sheep. For others, it's like the stick a teacher would have carried in ancient times. It's a sign of the bishop's authority to teach. What's certain though, is that by the time Christianity was spreading here in Ireland, the crozier was well established as a symbol. The same pope that sends Bishop Palladius to Ireland in the year 431 refers in one of his letters to the crozier as a sign of episcopal authority. Now, croziers come in different sizes and shapes. The croziers that survive from early medieval Ireland tend to be shorter than croziers elsewhere, and most of the Irish ones have a very distinctive feature. Their crooks at the top, instead of being curved, they terminate in a vertical drop. The reason for this isn't entirely clear, but one art historian, Rachel Moss, she speculates that all of these examples might be modelled on a particularly famous crozier, the Bachal Isa, which possibly contained a relic in this vertical section. In any case, the Lough Crozier corresponds exactly to what we expect from an Irish crozier of the time, except that it is, in the words of the archaeologist Griffin Murray, the most lavish of them all. It has a wooden core, but it's covered in silver. Most other Irish croziers are fitted with bronze rather than silver. It's richly decorated with abstract designs and depictions of plants and fantastical animals. And there's a precious stone, a garnet, set in the crook, directly below a charming depiction of a human face, possibly that of a saint. It's thought to date to the 11th century, and it's been associated with the monastery here on this island of Innisfallen, which is very near the spot where it was found. We can imagine the abbot here holding this magnificent crozier as he taught the community of monks and led them in prayer. Now, like many of the Irish treasures discovered in the 19th century, the so-called Tara brooch, the Ardagh chalice and so on, this crozier was displayed at important exhibitions throughout these islands and played its part in constructing the national and religious consciousness of Irish Catholics of the time. There's treasure from the deep. It reminded the newly liberated Catholics of Ireland that their faith and culture had indeed produced objects of great beauty. We don't know who lost this crozier or when, We don't know whether it was lost during a violent attack or simply by accident, but its discovery by a lucky Kerry fisherman will not be forgotten. And as long as it stands for all to see in the National Museum on Kildare Street in Dublin, it is a reminder that there might be a great deal more treasure waiting to be discovered in the bogs and fields and caves and rivers of our island.